Welcome to the Perfectly Sane Show, episode 680. I am Chris, as always, joined by Tony.
I'm not really a religious person, but today I was almost killed by Jesus.
And Jeff is here too.
Oh boy, here goes my voice. You know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try restarting it and see if I'm stable, if I'm a stable person.
Nice. We're going to lose Jeff for a minute, but Tony, Jesus drove you today?
He did. So I was, so my son's in the hospital, and I was getting a lift home. So I get the message. Jesus has arrived. And so I get in the car with Jesus, and Jesus drives me home. It's the middle of rush hour in DC. It's like 5:30. So traffic is bad. Jesus doesn't care. Jesus is weaving and dodging all the way from the hospital to my house. So for 25 minutes in the middle of DC rush hour, like a madman.
I could see how that would be nightmarish.
Yes, there were a few moments where I'm just like, we can just sit in traffic for a second here. We can sit. We don't need to fit into that spot because we could die. There were a couple times I thought we were going to crash. But you know what? I forgot that it was Jesus. I was in the car with Jesus. Of course, he's not going to crash.
You had divine protection. Also, so I don't know if I know it's different everywhere, but is Washington you open up the Lyft app or Uber and it's this is what it's going to cost you to get you where you're going.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not like a taxi where it's all right, we'll sit in traffic.
Right.
Because it's going to cost you every 3 minutes.
Nope, the price was the price. It was I think Jesus was also because it was storming today. But I managed to call the Lyft in between storms. So the price was what it normally is. And then it immediately went back up again as soon as I had called the Lyft.
He was trying to get
rid of me so he could get an actual fare that was higher.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did not appreciate my trip with Jesus. I don't do well with the whole bobbing and weaving in traffic thing. It makes me dizzy for ages.
Jesus has to make his bread.
It makes me terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
My wife does that on the highway. First off, she sets it to her cruise control to 80 and then just will ride up on somebody and then fucking go around. I'm like, dude, could we not do this?
So, question for both of you. And Jeff, I'm with you. When my wife drives, I don't like it.
She's fine on the streets. It's just the highway. It's just dude, why do you have to go this fast?
My girlfriend is great, awesome driver. My ex-wife, thank God I'm not married to her anymore.
When you guys get a lift, do you sit in the front?
Or no.
In the back? Yeah, okay.
The back, diagonal from the driver too.
Yeah, so you can see them. And they can see you. If they kind of out of the corner of their eye, so it's not, I'm not behind you. I'm not going to pull out my wire and strangle you.
Nope.
But also, I don't want to be in the front seat with you.
No.
Unless there are 4, there's 3
right,
or 4
unless you
of
have
us,
too many people for the car. That's.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I will sit with if I get in a lift with my 2 kids, we all sit in the back. I will sit in the middle before I sit in the front.
Understandable. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page and one of us wasn't a psychopath.
Anyone that does that is a psychopath.
All right, let's talk some games. Tony, I've been meaning to ask you for the last couple weeks. How goes Dragon Dogma 2?
I haven't played it in a while. I haven't played it in ages. I haven't played it since I got into Fallout. I haven't touched it.
Yeah. That's what I kind of figured that you'd fallen off of it. I beat the original Dragon's Dogma on my Steam Deck, and then I jumped into 2, and I'm like, oh, this is the same. It's a pretty game, but it's the same game.
Yes, it is absolutely the same.
I mean, I have not fought any of like the big outside of like that intro area where you fight like what the Gorgon or whatever. I haven't fought any of like the big monsters yet, and I know that they did change some of that because like the Griffin can take off and fly away with you on its back, and you couldn't do that in the first one. But
yeah, you can like climb the enemies and like
made it a little more Monster Hunter-y.
What class are you?
Archer, so I'm
Archer?
never going to be climbing on anything.
No, I mean I was, and Jeff too. We're mages.
So
like no climbing, no climbing.
I have Jeff's pawn and your pawn in my party, and like you guys are like 25 so levels higher than me, and like we come across like a group of goblins, and like I get my bow out and everybody's already dead.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I won't.
You're gonna get like halfway through the game and not know how to like fight in the combat.
Like, I guess everybody's dead. Like, all right, good job, guys. Keep going. And I wonder because like I got them when I got the game, which was you guys had already been playing for a bit. So your characters were already level. I wonder if like I dismissed your guys and then brought them back if they'd be even higher level. Or
yes,
okay.
if we've leveled up since then, it would come back at a higher level.
Okay, so like because they're in my game from when I got them, they're kind of like stuck there. But if I go away, come back, like
I've done that with Jeff's pawn before.
I might do that. Like if I start to get like right now, you guys are just like giving me experience. It's like I just like walk through. It's like you are now level 6. You are now level 7. All right, that's kind of cool. But I might need to go back and get your leveled up guys at some point. And Jeff, you can answer this too. Does the enemy variety change up, or is it like goblins, harpies, bandits, occasional big enemy?
I don't know.
There are different kinds of goblins. Like you'll run into more advanced ones, more advanced harpy. Like the sort of enemies, like the mix will be the same, but there'll be stronger versions that can do new stuff.
Okay.
So
well, that's a little bit more than what the first one did.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of why I fell off. Like the game always kind of felt the same. And then I tried to like switch classes to like freshen it up. But like there's nothing quite like being like as far into the game as I was and then starting off a brand new class and having no idea how to play and fighting like really high level enemies. It's hard.
This isn't going well.
Like this is not worth it. Like Archer, bye. I'm going back to mage. I can't do this to myself anymore.
Yeah, and as you level up because you level up as a character, but also you level up your vocation.
Yeah,
leveling up your vocation, like you get better skills and buffs and stuff. So if you're like jumping in as a level 1 archer vocation, you don't have like the skills that come along with having.
Well, you're like a level 10 wizard. You're like I can move mountains, and now I can't do shit.
Right. It's like I'm strong, like I have hit points and stuff, but I am like an idiot with a bow, and that's all I can do is thwunk at people. All right. Well, I just wanted to check in on you on that because that was a big game that I think it hit at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed my time with it, but I think that time might be over.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Jeff, you hit that point too, right?
I enjoyed my time. I wouldn't say really enjoyed. Like it's okay. It was something to play. But like Tony, I think I went from that to Fallout and or maybe something else was in between. But yeah, it was beautifully
you played an actual good game and you're like, oh right.
This is what
good games are like.
I was like, this is giving me my RPG fix, and I have like no desire to go play that other RPG that I honestly like. I just don't see what other people see in it. Like I just think it's just okay. Like it had some okay ideas, like the pawns and stuff, but like
I think the
don't think
pawns are cool. I think the darkness is cool. Like I don't particularly like it, but when it gets dark out, it's fucking dark. Like you can't see shit.
Yeah.
You go into a cave, you best have a lantern because you're not going to be able to see. And like their day night cycle is actually pretty neat.
And some of the enemies you run into at nighttime are pretty badass too. You run into like necromancers and stuff that just you don't see during the day that are really cool.
You guys play more Fallout this week? Was that basically what you guys were into?
I've been playing through the last DLC, the Nuka World one, and in it, so you join forces with groups of raiders, and it's like you're heading through Nuka World and like taking it over, and like there's these 3 groups of raiders, and you like assigning these raiders to these areas of Nuka World that you're taking over. But once you take over the whole park, the raiders are like, we need to keep expanding. And so you can bring the raiders back to the Commonwealth and like take over settlements with them. So it gives you this quest as you're going along to take over a settlement. And it lets you like pick which one. And I picked some random one that I hadn't yet like found. I hadn't gotten there. And you literally attack the settlement and kill everyone who's there, and then the raiders take it over. So I was like, okay, I'll try the quest. I'll do that. As soon as like, so I attack this. It's a lighthouse. It's actually held not by like normal settlers, but by the children of Adam. So me and this group of raiders attack the settlement. We kill everyone. We raise the raider flag at the end, and then I get a message. Preston hated that. And then Preston hates you.
Oh no.
I'm immediately like, well, since I want the Minutemen to be with me as I attack
your end game faction,
and the
right?
end game, I'm like, oh, all right, reload, save. I guess we're not doing that. So my completion of Nuka World is on pause until I actually I have to flip it around and I have to beat the game, and then I can go back and finish this DLC.
Got it.
Because I want Preston to be on my side. I want him to be with me. Preston hates you now. Oh no. Oh no. I've made a terrible mistake.
Oops.
Sorry, Preston.
Glad we have time travel by
These are the children of Adam. You don't care about them, do you? Apparently he does.
Yes, he clearly does.
Well, I like a bunch of the settlements on the list that I could have picked were ones I had already like I already owned the workshops for. Like I'd already built stuff at all of those settlements and had like, things that I could have attacked my own settlement. I was like, that's obviously a bad thing. I can't do that. So I'm gonna go with this random one. Well, it didn't matter.
Well, so now you're gonna finish up that main quest.
Yeah, so I've actually gone back. We've assembled our Minuteman army. We're gonna attack now.
All right.
What's gonna happen?
Did you build your teleporter?
That's all done.
Yeah, that was pain in the ass because I was not building most of the game. I was like, God damn it!
I had I had all of the pieces to it already.
Oh yeah,
that quest took me like 5 minutes.
I was like, because again, I was not messing with the building stuff, and I'm like,
yeah,
how the fuck do I wire this shit up? Like, and it was definitely it was a learning moment for me, but I did Frankenstein together.
So I just immediately I built a giant nuclear reactor because I just had all the pieces. I had all like because those parts to the teleporter require like special pieces that you could only find in certain areas, but I had them all already.
Yeah, I had to go hunting. I was like stuck on that quest for a while and like thinking about just quitting. but it wasn't too much work. There was just a few things I needed to grab, But yeah, then I'll be interested to hear how it goes for you.
Final battle update maybe next week.
That's right, and then I can talk about how Preston now hates me because. Sorry, Preston.
Jeff, you play anything? You had already finished Fallout 4, so
yeah,
you're off your Fallout kick now.
Yeah, I went with the Minutemen and killed everybody, and then I was playing for a day or so after that. And then I guess I'm done now. I've just been playing Vampire Survivors, dude. I keep getting new shit in it. I keep finding new adventures to do. I still have over 100 unlocks in the main game to do. More characters. I even found more DLC. There's an Among Us DLC that I somehow missed.
Oh.
The game is endless.
I don't think I played it though.
It is endless, dude. I did not. I think there's an adventure mode with that. I did not like it at all. But you get the characters or unlock the characters and their weapons and stuff in the main game and the other adventures. That game is just I cannot believe. Go back to when it first came out, and then you thought you beat the game, or at least in my case, I thought I beat the game, and it's no, dude, you scratched the surface. There's fucking a million levels, dude. It's so fucking good. It never gets old. I don't know. One of the best games ever.
It's fantastic, and then the fact that you can get the base game and all the DLC, and I still think it's less than $15-$20.
Probably less. Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay.
It's just so fun, and once I hit a wall. Well, now I'm playing it on Xbox because I bought all the DLC for both. Because, like you said, it's a great deal.
Yeah.
But now I'm back on Xbox because I'm chasing achievements in the game. Literally, we just did a run before this podcast, and we unlocked fucking 5 achievements in one run in a game that I've probably put, I don't know, 100 hours into. How the fuck is that?
Yeah, I mean that game has I think the base game itself had a crazy amount of achievements.
Hundreds.
Yeah, 160 in the base game, and then 140 in the base game, and they've added 71 more since then.
It's kind of a bummer to me that the Contra DLC
doesn't have any.
It might be the only one that doesn't have any.
Yeah.
I mean, it has the in-game stuff, but you just don't get anything to pop for your gamer score.
Yeah, which is kind of since they added them for everything else, it's kind of a shame.
I don't get why they didn't do that, but
there's probably some weird legal loophole somewhere.
It's gotta be because they're in the game, so it's just why don't you just make some of them actual achievements as well? But
yeah, and it's not you've maxed out the amount of achievements because something like a Master Chief Collection has, I think that they're up around 400 or 500 achievements that you can get in that game, and so it's not they hit a limit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But that DLC is also really great. All the weapons. Did you get that DLC?
I did. I've not played the Contra one yet, though.
The some of the weapons and the secondary weapons you get are fucking awesome. There's even one of the secondary weapons is an ammo box that automatically levels up one of your weapons and gives you 1 revival. I don't know. There's so much shit, and I love kind of mixing. Say you do it play through the adventure mode of the Contra shit.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the end of that, you open up a shop that lets you buy weapons from other DLCs or the main game. So when you're playing the Contra adventure mode, you don't have garlic or the Bible and stuff, but eventually you can buy you can start buying that shit. which also gives you like something to do with all the fucking money you have after a while. It's just like I'm gonna lock the weapons for every facet of this game into every other facet.
Yeah, because you have so much cash.
Yeah,
At some point that it's like I can't even. There's nothing else to buy. I bought everything.
Yeah. Once you've leveled everything up, it's like it becomes meaningless. But then
Yeah.
once you open up these shops and the DLCs and allows you to like just create chaos and just build your arsenal of there's like, dude. When you think about it, like I don't know how many weapons there were when the game first came out, but this is like I don't know, dozens and dozens of them now.
And you've gone back. I guess you're prepping for Elden Ring DLC. I think you said in the group chat that you found some stuff that you hadn't seen before.
No, it was on the new game. I'm on New Game Plus.
Okay.
I want to say with this character, and it was just I had assumed that I had just like tapped out the world, like done everything on that playthrough, and I was just fucking around. But no, like there was some of the harder areas I had left undone. This won't mean anything to you guys, but like Castle Sol, for some reason I had not gone there, and the hardest area, Haligtree, I had understandably avoided because I don't like the place. But I was like, well, I could. There is stuff for me to poke around. Like that's the thing is like at a certain point you're like, do I keep fucking around in this new game, or do I do a New Game plus? Because reset everything and you get because you start to run out of things to do, right?
Right.
But like, and I don't want. Another reason I don't want to do it is I'm worried about the DLC and the difficulty. Because I'm gonna be going into the DLC on New Game Plus, and from what I understand, it's pretty hard. Yes, I'm a high level character, but like, again, I don't want to like make it even harder on myself, by starting a new game. Plus, as I understand it, to access the DLC, it's an area that like pretty deep into the game. So if you start a New Game plus whatever, like
you can't get there right away.
Yeah, so like this area you can get to early on in the game if you do this particular side quest, which I always do, because it gets you to like the farming spot I always show you guys, where it's just like it's right by the farming spot where the DLC is going to be. And so, like, again, there's a way to get magically teleported there early in the game if you do this this kind of like lengthy side quest. But the problem is, it's been so long since I've played Elden Ring that I don't remember the steps to do it. Like, I'd have to look up a guide of how to do. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to make the game even harder for me going into it. I mean, I'm a level 271 character, but I'm still a little worried. I'm excited for this DLC though.
And that when is that?
That's like 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Or yeah, something like that.
Like
21st.
Like the back 3rd of June.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's so close. You guys, because I doubt you guys watched the previews or like
I mean, I saw like whatever the reveal trailer was, but
yeah,
I didn't like look into it seriously. No.
Yeah, GameSpot put out a like a 15-minute preview, showing stuff, and one cool thing is it's like hundreds of new weapons that could really change your play style, and you could carry those weapons back into the main game. So like, there's a lot of like potential fun there, right?
Yeah.
But this guy says like he has never stopped playing Elden Ring since it came out, and that in the time that he played of the DLC, he was not able to kill any of the bosses yet. So scary. Reddit, come to my rescue.
And I wonder if that's because of like what you were just saying, where he's in like New Game plus.
I don't know. He didn't specify any of that.
It's kind of wild that like you can inadvertently make the DLC harder by like having continued to play the game that you were already playing.
What is cool though is if, let's say, there's someone playing and they're stuck on a boss and they're just playing new game, like they're just playing it's their first run through.
Yeah,
they've gotten to the DLC and they need help with the boss. I should be able to walk in there and fucking destroy, just like blast a beam and fucking kill the boss for them. So that would be fun for me.
Like I could summon you into my game now, and like everything would just basically die at your hands. Like
they do scale you down a little bit so that I'm within some sort of range of your character, but it's just the weapons at my disposal. The spells I could cast, it doesn't matter. Fucking, I thought it was funny. Like the one time you did summon, I fucked up and died or something. Like on some easy ass boss.
Yeah, who were fighting that wolf thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the training level down on the south part of the map that like
we kept getting our asses kicked.
Yeah, well, I think I just kind of fucked up and also kind of underestimate him because I know how like powerful I am, and if any enemy, if they catch you slipping, you could get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's what it just kills me that I like died to that fucking boss of all bosses, like the easiest fucking boss.
Tony, did you get to play anything else? I know it's been a busy, rough week. So
no, not really. No.
All right. So I mentioned it last week. I've been playing Mad Max. Played more of it. That game is a perfectly fine 7 out of 10.
I meant to buy it when it was on the sale.
Yeah, I don't think it is anymore. But it's third person. A lot of the combat is hand to hand. It's like very Arkham style, and it's an open world game from like a decade ago. So it's very much like, here's the map. Here is a bunch of things to go do on the map. Like, here's these things. I think they call them. I don't know. They're like these little towers that you can put your grapple hook on and tear them down, and doing that like lowers the influence of the war boys in the area. Then there's like sniper towers, so like you can either like rip down the whole tower, or you can use your sniper rifle that you have your little mechanic buddy build you. You can like shoot them down, and then there's minefields that you can clear. Like, so there's like all these activities, like any open world game of that era. Yeah. And some of the stuff's fun. Like, some of it's like whatever. But the car, like just having the car to drive around in the wasteland is pretty cool. And you can collect cars, basically. Like, you can take the cars of the other, like the enemies and stuff, and you can bring them back, and you can drive those around if you want. And they actually act as camouflage, or you can use it as like to get into bases a little bit easier instead of you rolling up in your car. So like some of that stuff is neat. But just like the act of driving through the wasteland is pretty cool and fun. So I've been having fun just kind of doing that. And the only other thing that I really touched was I got a review code for a game called Hypercharged Unboxed. And it's been out for a while on Steam, but it just came to Xbox and I guess PlayStation. And it is a first or third person shooter. You play from either perspective, but it's like a tower defense type thing where you play as a toy, and then other toy, like so I think the first level is like the tutorial level is in a toy store, and like it teaches you how to like jump and stuff. But then like the base part of the game is there's these towers, and you then can set up defenses at them, and then waves of enemies that are like toys, like little army men. And
what is this called?
Little dinosaurs. It's called Hypercharged Unboxed.
Okay.
And it's It's not great, but it scratches like that kind of like itch of I like the aesthetic of playing as a toy in like an oversized world. I think one of both you and I, Jeff, we really like the level in Duke Nukem Forever where they
Oh
shrink
yeah,
Duke
yeah.
down. So it's like that. Like you're
Yeah,
this
I love
like
that.
you are in first person mode, but everything is like giant and there's some like cool platforming. There's like jump pads. There's a whole bunch of like collectibles to find.
I'm looking at screenshots. There's like a level in a kitchen and
Yeah,
in a garage and in like a backyard.
yeah. So
You
like
know,
they're
you
all
know
like that
what's
type of stuff. It's like if you were a kid playing with toys, but you are the toy. So it's like Toy Story, but a shooter.
you might enjoy Pikmin.
Yes, I do enjoy Pikmin. Like the Pikmin 4 is quite delightful.
Oh, you played it? How do I not remember this?
Tony played it too, I believe.
I know
Jeff was
Tony did.
drunk. Jeff
I
Yeah.
was
know
drunk.
I knew Tony. Jeff was drunk. I knew Tony. I knew Tony had played it, but for some reason I didn't think you got the game.
Yeah, I got
Did you
it.
get it when it
Like
came out?
yeah, and you get the
Oh.
cute little dog and
Did any of you guys beat the game and
I
do like
did not beat it. I made it to like the second area, second big area.
Tony? Tony, are you with us?
Oh no. Did we lose Tony?
I don't
No,
know.
I had to sneak in and do something.
Oh.
I did not beat it, but I watched my kids beat it, and my son like played it obsessively. Like he kept playing through like the post game content.
Yeah, so like
forever.
I know we've discussed this, but like after you beat the game, there's like a whole nother game. Like
Yeah,
there, like I think the main game is like 4 levels, but then you end up unlocking like 3 more levels, so it's basically twice the size of the game, and you get other modes. Like you get the one mode where it's like if you could play it like Pikmin 1, where you actually only have 15 days to see how much you could do. Like, God, the game was that might be due for a revisit at some point when there's no games for me to play.
isn't that like right now?
I'm so close to Elden Ring. I mean, I guess I could do it for like 2 weeks, but I'm like
You're like in the
somehow,
Elden Ring zone now. You're like Elden Ring needs to be here.
I'm circling it, and on top of it, like Vampire Survivors has really done well at keeping me busy with something to play every night.
Yeah, Pikmin's great. And this Hypercharge game quite fun too. It's enjoyable enough for what it is. And I want to fight the T-Rex. There's a T-Rex in it. I'm gonna get and fight that one.
You guys remember Army Men?
Yeah.
I used to love that game on 64. But last time I tried to play it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is unplayable."
Some of those older games.
It was a bad port, I think.
Yeah, but back in the day, it was
meant
just
to be
like
a PC game.
Yeah. Just control wise, I remember it was really hard going back to it. But a lot of games from the 64 era, like control wise now, you're just like, what the fuck is this?
Well, when you look at that N64 controller, you're like, how did it get
Yeah.
my hands to do that?
That is maybe the most insane controller. I mean, it gave us the analog stick, but like the rest of it is just like what
It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's like the 2 controllers that were awful. I also don't like the original NES controller because it's like
That's fine for what it was.
Great. It's not rounded, so it like ends
Yeah.
up hurting your hands after a while.
Yeah.
It's very weird that it's like sharp edged.
Yeah.
It was
They
early
fixed
days.
that.
It was early days,
Yes.
man.
I don't. Sega also had the Master System had weird square controllers. They both fixed it with their 16-bit curved edges. Ways to go.
What do you guys prefer, the Genesis controller or the Super Nintendo?
in terms of base controller, the
Yeah.
Super Nintendo controller, but
Agreed.
Yeah.
the 6-button Genesis controller is pretty fantastic.
I just don't like. I like the shape of the Genesis controller, kind of, but I don't like how the D-pad or the
D-pad
buttons
sucks.
feel.
The
And I don't
D-pad
like.
is like that pad. It's an actual pad. Like,
Yeah, and I don't like the buttons are kind of like arcade style. You know what I mean? Where it's just like in a row. I don't like that as much.
I mean, ultimately, the Super Nintendo controller is the model that everyone followed, right? Because
Yep.
the Xbox controller is different. There's a lot of different buttons on it, but that face button placement is from the Super Nintendo.
And shit, the shoulder buttons, they came up with that.
Yep. Army Men, lots of games. I didn't realize it had as many games.
Oh, there's a lot.
Series.
I think I might only had one or two of them. I think there was more than one on the 64, but whatever the fucking main one was on 64, I actually played a ton of.
Sarge's Heroes was the first one.
Yep.
There were actually 3 N64 games. So there were Sarge's Heroes Air Attack, and then Sarge's Heroes 2.
I think I maybe just had Sarge's Heroes. I don't know.
Maybe it's time to bring Army Men back.
I'd be down, just not that game. Like make a new one.
Yeah. Do something new. They haven't
that era.
They haven't done anything on an actual system since 2008. They did 2 mobile games since then, but nothing big since 2008. Anyway, Hypercharge Unboxed. That game seems pretty cool. I'm gonna keep poking away at it. Let's see. Some news happened this week.
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, let's kick it off with Summer Games Fest, which is tomorrow. I guess the first part of Summer Games Fest is tomorrow. And I'm not sure why this is news, but it came out that Summer Games Fest charges. They charge for having your trailer in the show, and it was $250,000 for a minute trailer, $350,000 for a minute and a half, $450,000 for 2 minutes, and then $550,000 for a 2.5 minute spot.
No wonder Keeley has more money than Cliffy B.
Does he? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he apparently said something where he was like bragging that he had more money than Cliffy B.
Okay. I mean, that's a weird thing to brag.
I
got more money than you, dude. I just found it odd that people were surprised.
Yeah, right. It's like buying airtime during the Super Bowl. It's the same idea. Like, you got all these people watching this thing.
And it's like, I mean, it's the Super Bowl of video game news. Like this, and he has positioned himself perfectly for it, right? He swept in after E3, kind of imploded on itself. People still need a spot to advertise.
Yeah.
And he had already positioned himself really well with his Game Awards show.
Yeah.
I don't like his stuff. I think the Game Awards is a terrible show. Like, I don't think it's I don't like. It's not what it is.
It sucks. Right? It's not an awards show. It's a bunch of trailers, and there are awards happening somewhere.
Yes, but in terms of the trailers, and in terms of the production value of that show, it's not cheap.
No.
Did
people think he was doing this out of the goodness of his heart? I don't understand.
Right. He's trying to make some money. He also has it's not just I know we always Jeff Keighley, he's the savior of games. No, Summer Games Fest and whatever corporation he's running in the back there are big. He has a staff that works for him. They need to get paid too. So very weird. But Jeff, I think you commented, and I don't know who posted it in the chat. It might have been Walt, but about us not getting super excited for the Summer Games Fest show.
Oh, that was me. Like, because Keeley was like getting down on his own show. He's like, we're not showing new games. It was very, very odd, and how he seemed like.
Don't expect anything too big, right?
Like, why are you shooting yourself? Why say
Okay.
this before the show? I don't understand what you're doing. Unless the show is bad, unless there's not like nothing this year to show off. But he was like listing off the games that won't be shown. Like, all these great games. No, they're not here.
I mean,
no GTA 6. Sorry.
You know, expectations set, lowered. You know.
Yeah. It's
everyone's doing shows though, right? It's like not just him. Like we're basically going into E3, right?
Yes. So the Keeley show is tomorrow. Microsoft show is Sunday. And I guess we can jump into that. Supposedly that is could run up to 2 hours long, with somewhere around the neighborhood of 30 games being shown.
Yeah,
great.
well,
can they release some of them ever?
Yeah.
My patience is wearing thin.
Apparently they're gonna. The rumor is they're gonna shadow drop something.
Yes, that is the rumor.
Oh, really?
Well. Get ready for Ara History Untold. Get ready. I'm gonna get my nice strategy game. You guys are gonna be like, "What the fuck is this shadow drop?"
It's like this is not what you guys needed to do.
Are we gonna see anything of these games that were announced like 5 years ago? And like what? Like wasn't that like a cool Rare game that was supposed to come?
Everwild?
Yeah. What the fuck happened with that? Is that even a game anymore?
I don't know. Let me see. I will let you know.
Did you guys see the report that Perfect Dark is in bad shape? Like,
yes.
Shocker.
Yeah. One, I don't know how you fuck that up, right? It's like just make another fucking Perfect Dark. Like,
I don't know.
Everwild is still in production, Jeff.
Supposedly.
It is. I think Earl brought this up maybe on a show you missed, but that game has been in development. It wasn't announced until 2019, but it has been in development since 2014.
Boy.
This is part of the problem with Xbox, right? Like they showcased that game in 2019. It has been 5 years since you debuted it, said it was coming. Like you can't do that. At some point, you need to deliver on the shit that you've said you're making, and that's part of the problem for me.
There's been so many games like that. I feel like from them, like
yeah, like how many showcases do we watch? You go, yeah, all that stuff's really cool, and then like we're still waiting for that stuff.
You guys remember that one? It was like an RPG that I think Platinum Games was gonna make.
Yes. The one with the dragon, Scalebound.
Yeah,
I
remember
like,
the one that got canceled.
Well, I read that basically like Platinum Games took money from Microsoft to make this game, and they were basically just using it to pump out their other games.
Yeah, and then everyone got angry at Xbox when finally Microsoft was like, "Hey,
that's wild, dude.
People aren't producing anything. We're killing this game." And then people got all upset at that. But yes, that was the report. I think they said that didn't happen, but seems likely to me. I don't know.
There was something else. Did they? When did? First off, did they announce a new Fable?
Yes,
they did. What year?
Oh, so that I will tell you when the new one was announced.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to know because it feels like it was last year, but maybe it was like 5 years ago at this point, like the other one.
Oh, let's see. So, 2020. It was shown
almost
at the Xbox Game Showcase in 2020.
Yeah, what's going on, dude? Seriously, like I get games take time to make, but it's been 4 years.
And they had been working on it 2 years prior to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
What the fuck, dude?
I don't know, but yeah, you got to stop showing stuff and going, yeah, look at all this cool stuff that's coming, because like you're not delivering any of the cool stuff.
They delivered shit, man. And it's not to do this rant over and over. It's not just them. It's not like they're the only ones.
No.
But they are kind of the most egregious to me, though, just because you bought like the entire industry up, and instead of like that, paying off in lots of cool games on Xbox, it's just like they're just closing the studios. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
And the studios that actually delivered
games, the ones that actually produced the game,
like quality or not, like Arcane delivered you a game, and then like whether you guys liked Hi-Fi Rush or not, like it was critically acclaimed.
It was a hit.
Yeah, people liked it. There were people out there who liked that game.
Yeah, which is fine, right? Like we don't have to like every game, but like people did like it, and then you're like, no, we're gonna shut you guys down. Like, what's going on here? Like these people are delivering, and yes, from a business standpoint, I do understand, right? Like, so we're gonna shut these guys down because it's gonna take another 3 or 4 years for them to produce something else. So on the chopping block, it's like we're going to cut these people because we need to get our numbers in order now. We need to fake our margins or whatever. But it's still like, why you're shutting down teams that are actually delivering games? Like, what if Fable never comes? Like, I guess we're getting Avowed this year, supposedly.
I was just gonna say, I was literally waiting to say it. I was like, at the very least, that's like in October or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I like RPGs, and that's Obsidian, right? So
yep, it's Obsidian.
Like yeah, I'm into that.
That's another one that was debuted at the 2020 Xbox Games Showcase.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I get it. Games take a long time, but some of that, I guess, has to be on Xbox. Then, like, don't reveal your shit so early, because now we're waiting for it, and you don't have anything. What do you guys expect out of that Xbox Showcase?
I don't know. It's like it could be like we just do the same thing again, where it's like we just announce a bunch of games that are fucking years out, and it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's like it was an exciting show, but then at the end of the day, you're like, wait a second, what's coming out for this system that I bought? Like
the big rumor is the Xbox handheld, right?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that. I don't follow
because
gaming.
Phil Spencer's been dropping hints. He's like, I like handhelds. They're great.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the big rumor, I guess, that they will showcase a handheld. We're not sure what that means. I guess we will find out on Sunday, but is it a handheld like the PlayStation Portal is a handheld, or is it like a portable Series S?
I bet it's more on the lines of like a Steam Deck, because Microsoft already makes a bunch of PCs. It wouldn't shock me for them to go in that kind of direction. Their own,
And I think it has to be priced around the Steam Deck too, though, right? Like,
yeah,
it needs to be. It needs to be comparable price wise to that. because some of those other handheld PCs, like the ROG Ally, and there's one from Lenovo. Those are almost $1,000 a piece. Like Xbox can't come out and be like,
No.
"Hey, we got this cool thing. It's $1,000, guys."
How much is a Steam Deck?
Depends on which one you get, but they range from like 400 to 550, I think.
So not too bad.
Yeah, I mean they're not cheap, but like they're more expensive than a Switch, but they're also more powerful.
You can play modern games. Yeah.
Let's see. So they have.
Oh yeah, there's like 3 versions of the Steam Deck.
Yeah, LCD one is $400, and the OLED one is $550, and then the OLED with the terabyte is $650. I think you have to hit that $400 price point though. Or at the very least, like you have to hit that middle one. You can't be like we have a $650 handheld.
You guys really think there's any merit to this?
The handheld, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It goes along with, like, I don't think it'll be like this is our driving focus. I think it's just like here's another way for people to play.
Yeah. I could see it. Yeah, I guess I could
Game
see
Pass in your hands.
Yeah. And you from right there you could have like your ecosystem is already on the machine, so you don't have to go somewhere else to buy
I would consider it, except for the fact that like I really don't like. I'd say the Switch I play at 90%, maybe even 95% in docked mode.
Yeah, there are people though that do play.
Oh, for sure.
I'm with you, Jeff. Although I have seen, I've seen myself starting to play a little bit more handheld wise with the Switch. Just because like the games I'm currently playing on it, like Super Mario RPG, like it's stuff where you have to grind a little bit. So like I'm watching TV while I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Yes, sometimes I will play when I'm watching TV, but not often. Like, because I'm often like I feel like I'm gonna miss something.
Yeah.
Even if it's like football or something, I'm like, well, I guess that is probably the case where I would, because you're not gonna really miss anything because there's always be replays and shit. Like, oh, something happened. You look up, and they'll play it again. Like,
oh, and like, well, football in particular, right? Like the play happens.
Yeah, you can
then it's
see
like
it
you have another minute or so before anything else happens. So, I don't know. I'm interested in it. I don't know if it's something I'm going to jump at, but
it's something I would consider. Just because I own so many Xbox games, it would be kind of cool. Like, shit, man, well, I just want it in my head. Handheld Elden.
Right, like one that
would be wild.
That's something that I like with the Steam Deck is like
Elden Ring.
Not Elden Ring, but like I can load up games and like I mean I assume Elden Ring runs on it. I don't know, but like I've been playing games from like 4 or 5 years ago on it when I'm out. Like the kids are at practice for something, like I'm in the car and I can just play in the car for the 40 minutes I'm waiting or whatever. And that would be cool. Like if I could, I could take Mad Max with me with my handheld Xbox and play it that way too. That would be neat. So what do you guys think is the shadow drop?
That rare game. No, I don't think it's that.
No, it's gonna be Ara History Untold. I'm telling you. The rest
I can see it being just something.
Tony,
I'm gonna hunt you down, Tony. If that is the game that they drop.
I can see it being something kind of random like that, or like just something new that you haven't, you couldn't predict, like kind of like how what the fuck was the Tango game?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi, like something like that. I don't know.
I think you both are probably right. It's probably something like Ara or something like Hi-Fi Rush, which is like a smaller game from one of their studios. Maybe it's just because like the forums I frequent and stuff, but some people are speculating that it is the long rumored Marcus Phoenix collection, and they would shadow drop that after the premiere of Gear 6.
Wait, what is that? Like, is it just a re-release of all the Gears games?
So it would be like the Master Chief collection, but for Gears, like where you'd have all of them in one. It would be a new package, and you'd have all like they'd probably do like the 360 games. Maybe
is this something
in 4 and 5.
Is this something we know exists, or is
no? It's something that's been long rumored.
Yeah, and that's probably a solid rumor. I could see that being true.
Yeah, like they did it for Gear. They did it for Halo. Like it kind of makes sense to do like a new release, bundle it all together. And it would give you a new multiplayer. It would spice up your Gears multiplayer, which has kind of died with 5. Like nobody's really playing it at that point. But if Gears 6 isn't coming this fall, you could get people playing and excited for Gears with, by releasing the entire series again in a package, have like new achievements for people to go for, new multiplayer stuff, new skins and stuff for people to earn. I could see it. I think you guys are probably right. But
you know what it's going to be? It's going to be Hollow Knight Silk Song. That's what it'll be.
Okay. Supposedly that's coming to Game Pass, so that makes sense.
I mean, are you guys aware of like every fucking show that there's been for like the last 3 years? The Hollow Knight fans are like, now they're going to show Silk Song.
Yes.
Now they're going to tell us like when it's coming out or whatever,
To the point where people are like going with the Switch, like yes. Switch ones are like, this is the one. It's like,
yes,
except like it's been announced that it's coming to Game Pass, so it makes sense that they would give Microsoft.
If it was that, it would be wild because like these people are so like, I sympathize with them. I don't really like Hollow Knight, but I feel bad for them. They want it so bad. It's nothing for years.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. Like they expected it 2 years ago, and it's been year after year, and now we're halfway through this year. It's still nothing. And I guess we know Call of Duty is like, I guess that kind of was revealed. Black Ops 6 will be coming to Game Pass. There's some sort of Black Ops showcase after the Xbox showcase. I don't really know. I don't really think you need a Call of Duty showcase. Like, what are you going to show?
What could possibly be like interesting? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like Call of Duty, but it's just like,
right.
Like, it is a known quantity. Like, we know what it is.
This is the 6th entry in a spin-off franchise of your franchise. Like it is the 6th
when
Black
was
Ops
there
game.
When was there a Black Ops 5? I remember
that was Cold War.
Oh, I guess you're right. It was Black Ops Cold War.
Yeah,
so I just always think of it as Cold War. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because there was Call of Duty Black Ops 4, which was a mess. That did not have a single player campaign in it.
4.
Yeah. And so
that one.
Then they kind of like they cycled back on it and were like, oh, well, I guess people do like the single player. And they did Cold War.
I liked Cold War, man.
Yeah.
You played that?
Yeah, Cold War's really good.
I fucking dug it.
Actually, I think everything since Black Ops 4 has been pretty good, because that was Modern Warfare, the redo of Modern Warfare, Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2.
I think Vanguard's underappreciated. I thought that was solid. Yeah. Modern Warfare 2 was the shit. Really good. I just didn't play the one, what was last year? Modern Warfare 3?
Modern Warfare 3, yeah.
I've not played that one. And that one did get like kind of bad reviews. But then some of the other ones I've liked kind of did too. I was like, what are you talking about? The campaign's awesome in this, you know?
Yeah, people didn't like Vanguard. I really liked Infinite Warfare. I liked the campaign in that one. Maybe not the multiplayer so much, but I thought the campaign in Infinite Warfare was fun.
Is that older?
Yeah, that was that's the space one. Do you remember that one with
was it the Kevin Spacey one?
No, that's Advanced Warfare. This is so dumb.
What was the one that we're talking about called?
Infinite Warfare.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Infinite Warfare is the one with Jon Snow. He was the villain. I can't think of his name. Kit Harington.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was
that's pretty old now, yeah.
Yeah, that was 2016, like the game's 8 years old, so I thought that single player was really neat, and you got to fly like spaceships and shit. So, yeah, I don't know. Call of Duty's fun. I just don't know, like, what are you going to show in Black Ops 6 that is like so revolutionary you need its own showcase?
Yeah,
maybe there is something really cool. You never know. Like,
you're right. You're right, Tony.
Why are we shitting on this before it happened? I mean,
you're right. Like, we should wait to shit on it.
We can shit on it afterwards and be like, why the fuck did this game have its own showcase? It didn't make any sense.
It's just, what are you gonna do? Anything you're gonna do, it's gonna still be Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like,
who knows?
You can't change it.
There's gonna be something so awesome in this showcase that Chris is gonna be embarrassed that he just said that. That's what we're gonna hope for, right? And then
I just don't.
When it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
This is the 21st Call of Duty game. I mean, it's like Madden. It would be like Madden getting
exactly like Madden.
Like,
did you see him snap that ball? Yes. You hit the A button. Look at him go.
I mean, even EA, like, they kind of stopped spending like 10 minutes on Madden at their events, because it was like, yeah, it's fucking football. We did some new animations, I guess. Like, that's cool, right? Like,
it's not worth blowing any part of your marketing budget on that kind of thing anymore. It's
right.
not.
I mean, I guess whatever. All right, we can shit on it next week.
We can. Absolutely we can.
So yeah, that's what we have in store for the weekend. Is not E3 is kicking off. So
is Nintendo doing a show?
That's a good question. They did say they were having a direct, but I don't know. Let's see, where to watch the June direct. We don't know much about the June 2024 Nintendo Direct. So yes, we do know there is one, because the president of Nintendo. So this is where it kind of came out that the Switch 2 is not going to be revealed at it, because he was like, they're going to make an announcement on the successor of the Switch within this fiscal year, and they'll be holding a direct in June, but it won't feature the Switch successor in it. So we know one's happening. We just don't know when in June. So I mean, and Nintendo is one of those companies that, like, they could come out Tuesday and be like, direct is on Thursday.
Yeah.
So
it's coming next week, though. We assume. It's
I would think so. They're probably going to wait
sometime
to the
in
end.
June.
Yeah, this week or next week, I would think.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Speaking of games that were announced a decade ago.
I think you release it this fall.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know, like, do you think Metroid Prime 4 is a game that you launch the Switch 2 with?
No.
Exactly. So are you gonna shelve it to, like,
I'm just not
for another whole
entirely.
year?
I
Do you think
don't
this
know if
game's done?
I just don't believe if it's real. I feel like it's in development hell.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, at
I
some
can see
point it
that.
is because it was because they fucking scrapped the whole game.
They scrapped it and gave it back to Retro.
Who
Was
should
it
have been
Retro?
working on it in the first place? Who did they have? Like fucking Namco or what the fuck did they have on that? Like it was some like you're just like I don't know if I want them touching it. Like
it be developed. Well, not confirmed. Bandai Namco.
yeah, and it's like I was always iffy about that to begin with, and then they wasted years on that and fucking we'll give it to Retro. They might know how to make this game. And it's been years since that. Like,
yeah. So, do you want the timeline, Jeff?
Yeah, I do. I want let's fucking.
Metroid Prime 4 was announced in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. In 2018, Reggie. It's been a while because he was still he was still saying stuff. He was saying it was well into development and proceeding well, but it wasn't shown that year. And then in January of 2019, it was announced that production had been restarted under Retro Studios.
In what year? 2019.
2019.
Jesus.
And that was it. So it has been in production at Retro for 5 years now.
Yeah, like it's just I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. Like I think it's kind of bullshit that they're like leaving us hanging on it. Like just say sorry that you know I don't know. I guess it will happen eventually, right? They did do that Metroid Dread.
Yeah, and which is their most successful Metroid game ever. So
amazingly, and that was like out of nowhere. No one was expecting that. Like, oh, fucking a new 2D Metroid game. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I do not like that game very much. But
I didn't love it either, which is a shame because I do like 2D Metroid.
I know.
And they did remaster it last year, so I think
it's still in a mix, I guess, right?
I think if you're going to launch the Switch 2 next year, and it's not a game that you think you launch alongside the Switch 2, and maybe it is, maybe it's not the game. Maybe like you have a new Mario game, whatever the Odyssey sequel is.
They're gonna launch.
Maybe Metroid is alongside that, like it's the secondary title. I could see that.
It would no. I could see it like first 3 months. I don't think they've launched
with 2 games. Yeah,
games that big.
Yeah,
I think that what's gonna launch the Switch 2? The new F-Zero. That's gonna be the game that everyone buys the Switch 2 for.
Okay.
I just like to get. I'm fucking with Hollow Knight fans, F-Zero fans. I'm fucking with all y'all tonight.
I mean that's a reach right there.
I don't know that if I believe it's dead because like they did that F-Zero. What the fuck?
99.
Yeah. Although that is probably fairly easy to develop, and so who knows? I'd love to see. I joke, I was poking at F-Zero fans, but I actually would be happy to see a new one. That'd be great.
Did you guys catch the Bloomberg article about Suicide Squad?
No, I haven't catched anything about Suicide Squad.
About how badly it was developed. Like,
yeah,
why did it come out? Was it a game?
Yeah, it came out.
Yeah, it
Oh.
came out a while ago. Been out for a while, and it's terrible. And don't play it. You'll be fine.
Okay.
Um,
That's the
yeah,
Batman studio.
it
Right?
is. It is the Batman
The
studio.
Batman studio.
It's Rocksteady, right?
That's
Like,
all you do.
yeah. I don't think they've ever did Rocksteady ever do
No, they did 3
anything
games. They were all
else.
Batman, and then they
Yeah.
did whatever this is.
They did
Yeah.
3 Batman games that got progressively worse, and then they made this.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say even Arkham Knight. Like, I agree, Jeff. Like, I think City's a step down from Asylum. I think
Yeah.
Knight is a step down from City. But like, all 3 of those games are very good games. Like,
Yeah.
even Knight, which I don't love, like, is a like when you get into the actual gameplay of it, it's a good game.
Yeah.
And then they released this thing. So Jason Schreier, he does these kind of retrospectives on games sometimes, and he did some reporting on this. He talked to 20 people that had worked at Rocksteady during the development of it, and I believe Earl just joined us.
Oh,
Hi.
Earl's
Earl.
just in time. We're talking about Batman.
Earl,
Yeah.
say goodnight.
No, we're talking about your Suicide Squad, Earl.
I did not read the article, but I imagine it was. We are got this game. It's going to be fantastic. Everybody else, the Suicide Squad. It's going to make us a ton of money. Yeah.
So, well, on the Warner Brothers side, definitely that they were like, this is going to be our next billion-dollar franchise is kind of what they were saying. And uh, they were told, the leadership at Rocksteady was kind of told, hey, we want you to make this live service game. They're like, hey, we make single player games. They're like, yeah, but this is like the game that you want to make right now is not the game we need you to make. So think up something. So they came up with this Suicide Squad game. And then evidently leadership just kept changing their minds on what they wanted the game to be. So it made it very difficult for the developers and the writers and the artists to do work and make it cohesive. And they were questioning why, like, why are we going from a melee focused game like, what Batman is, to a game where they're all using guns, and like you have iconic characters that utilize, like, what, Captain Boomerang. He uses a fucking boomerang. Why is he using a gun now? And these were all like questions that developers and artists and people on the ground were asking, and leadership just kept shifting. They just did not have any coherent kind of focus for it. And then upper management leadership, Warner Brothers leadership, was like, yeah, this is great. This all seems great. It's going to be $1 billion. They were very shocked that when it did not do well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, calling a spade, especially in regards to the Suicide Squad. It's clear that like, the Warner Bros. Upper breast. So, I think somebody. I mean, a lot of people have asked this recently with regards to the Suicide Squad because I mean, if you think about it, like the first movie came out in 2016, so between I think 2015 and now, there's been 2 animated movies, 2 live-action movies, a video game. They're getting a new anime that premieres next month, and that is in addition to and the video game. And everybody's like, "Why are you trying to make Suicide?" Because clearly, Suicide Squad, I love them. I've loved them for a long time, but it's something the general public hasn't latched on to. I feel
Yeah.
more so that it's we can get Harley Quinn, who's super popular, and the Joker, who are popular into things, but as a concept the general public has just not latched onto, and it's so weird that I mean, even rewinding beyond like, oh, these people don't use guns. You have a brand that people love that you could have tried a games as services with. but you made them bad guys of this game, and nobody wants to kill their heroes. And the problem, especially with Superman, is like we've had evil Superman video games. That's the whole purpose of Injustice. To then do another evil Justice League game instead of having like a Justice League game. Like there's not a Justice League game that you can make. Oh, okay, like there's a counter to that. It's weird. It reaches a corporate like, oh, we have to make this a big thing, and nobody else is buying it.
Yep. One other thing on that I'm trying to find the quote that I highlighted earlier on this. So the studio heads left. They they moved on from Rocksteady about a year and a half ago, I think, at this point. And this is just had me scratching my head because so I'm gonna read this piece from Schreier's article. Later, when they started a new studio called 100 Star Games, they told potential recruits from Rocksteady that they would have the opportunity to make a game free of the mandates and pressures from a corporation like Warner Brothers. That's great. Except they just signed a deal with Xbox to make that game. Like, what are we doing?
It very much reminds me. I mean, to a certain extent, I forgot if you talked about this last week or if this is this week news. But Toys for Bob, who bought the independence from Microsoft, to then go and sign a deal with Microsoft to publish their next game.
Yeah,
It's like you're breaking up to just like we're friends with benefits now.
yeah. I mean, at least from there, it's like, all right, well, like they're willing to give us funding to make our thing, but we're free of them. Like, after this contract's up, we don't have to be part of them. It seems really weird to be like, we want to escape Warner Brothers. Like publicly say we want to escape Warner Brothers, so we don't have to answer to them and to sign
a deal with the largest corporation in the world. That's great.
Yeah. What are we doing? Nutty. Yes, that's kind of a mess for Rocksteady. And it seems like they have moved some of Rocksteady is now working on whatever they're doing with Hogwarts. They're working support for Hogwarts while they kind of come up with their next game.
Yeah, that I mean, to me, that's always just the rub with these things. It's like it's mandates, it's directions from the top, but if it bombs, I mean, not if it did bomb, but the people who feel it are the people at the bottom. Oh, we can't necessarily. I mean, again, Rocksteady. When Arkham was announced, when Arkham was released, I remember the anticipation around that was nothing because they were a no-name studio.
Yep.
And they came out with, I mean, legitimately a game of the year, to me, a game of the generation at the time, Arkham Asylum. And they became a household name. And then within that 15 years, you relegated them to support studio.
Yep. All right. Well, let's just cycle back one more. So we talked about Xbox Showcase, Earl. That's coming up this Sunday. Do you have any expectations, any predictions, anything you're looking for out of Xbox from that showcase?
I mean, honestly, it's going to be more the tightrope they walk between we just laid off a crap ton of people and repositioned them, and we spent the first quarter of this year being, oh, some of our games are going to go to other platforms. Like, they really need to bring it so that people are not just excited but buy into their game plan. I don't know if you folks talked about the rumor. Again, I just got in, so I've always seen headlines, but I saw that they were looking to potentially remaster their whole Combat Evolved remaster and port it to the PlayStation, maybe?
Yeah, so we did not talk about that. That is a rumor that's circulating, varying degrees of like what that actually means.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, as we saw earlier in this year, because we talked about it when it was happening, like the rumors started from like Microsoft's going to port like one game over, Microsoft's going to port a few games over, to everything Microsoft makes is going to be a third party title now, to like it being 4 games that I think 2 of them found second life and the rest of them people forgot exist. Um, so it's very hard with those rumors. But again, it is something that's now in the back of people's mind. It's like, why should I buy an Xbox for this if there's potential for it to then be on a PlayStation or the Switch next year or a year from now, whatever. So that's the big one. The other one is really just like updates on a crap ton of projects they've announced. Um, Perfect Dark we've seen nothing of. I forgot if we've seen something of Avowed recently. There's just a lot of games that need updates. Like, I don't even need them to fill my socks up. I really need you to be like, the games we promised you 2 or 3 years ago are nearing the end game now.
Or more specifically, and then we talked about the dates right before you came on. A lot of the stuff they announced is 5 and 6 years old now.
Yeah. Like I understand that it's a very different beast, but it's it does not really behoove us to. I mean, they are not a great publisher, and I think that has been their reputation for the past like 5 or 6 years. Is they buy up all these studios, and I'm all for giving them creative freedom, but at some point, creative freedom actually has to have an end product, and that's the part where you are not really just setting the world on fire. I mean, good or bad, I don't know where the general consensus fell on Starfield at the end of the day, but I will tell you that Starfield is less than a year old, and I feel like nobody talks about it. Where I felt like people talked about Oblivion and Morrowind for months and years afterwards, and Skyrim. Skyrim was the big one. I mean, people still talk about Skyrim.
Well, I mean, you could play it on your refrigerator.
Yes,
So
but I feel like
What's Skyrim? I've never heard of it.
Starfield came and went in a way that the others did not.
We'll see. I mean, I think that they will be showing off the first big expansion for Starfield. See if that kind of reinvigorates interest in it.
I kind of feel like Starfield has potential.
Yeah,
but
they just came out with that huge update, which I haven't played yet, which actually adds maps. Like the game was missing essential features it needed when it maps.
I guess I'm thinking of like, because at this point we've seen games that had the prime example is always No Man's Sky. I think Cyberpunk was another one where it's like at some point it got into a condition where people who played are really into it and like appreciate what it became. But it's the people who still play it. Like I feel like the window of like getting new people pass them by.
Yeah.
It's like that's a good point. Or like Cyberpunk, from by all accounts, like their new DLC that they just released for it, with like who was like, I didn't play it, like, and I liked the game when it first came out. It's like, I don't know. I think a lot of places you have your window of like,
you have. I mean, another example, and is Multiverses that recently relaunched 2 weeks ago, and I don't hear a lot about it. And it wasn't even a bad game. It just like you disappeared for a year to relaunch. People moved on. And so I feel like Starfield again. I think Starfield can have DLC. I think it would be great DLC. It could have a huge expansion, but you at some point you need to get people back. And I feel like a lot of people were like, we invested time. It was fun. I might go back if a ton of people tell me it's great. New games that come out and people will forget about it.
People will be back for the Elden Ring DLC because Elden Ring was great when it came out.
Yes, and I also think that's because again, people were invested in Elden Ring. People played Elden Ring. People played Starfield, but I feel like a lot of people dropped off or like, oh, this is
Yeah.
good. Where Elden Ring was like, yes, to your point, Like I literally talking to a friend right now who's like, "Oh, I just started a new build. It's a sword. What is it? Sword and broad. Just sword and board this time. Yeah, 2-3 years later, people are still doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Where again, Starfield, I don't
It
know.
just it was okay, but like I don't have any desire to go back to Starfield. I don't know.
I'm still poking at it, so like I'll probably get the DLC when it comes out. So
Yeah, I put a lot of time in that game. I would definitely play more of it if the DLC was worth it.
All right. Well, one other piece here, and then we'll see if Earl has anything else. But Dragon Age, you guys remember that?
Sure.
I
Yeah. So
do.
Dragon Age, I forget what it was called.
Dreadwolf.
Dreadwolf, yes.
Yes.
Dragon Age Dreadwolf, the fourth Dragon Age game, is no longer. They've cut the Dreadwolf. It's now Dragon Age the Veilguard,
Bride Protector.
the Bride Protector.
Wait,
Yeah, that's what they chose, and I guess there will be a showcase of Dragon Age this month, June 11th, I
next
believe.
Tuesday. Yeah, next
They
week.
must have changed the storyline significantly so that the old title didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I hope that's what it is.
I am just so fascinated that they made a big deal about like, changing it. Like it was like, oh, we got a new name, and then here's like, there's I think a half an hour gameplay thing next Tuesday or something like that. Yeah.
It's a bad name. Dreadwolf just sounded way cooler.
Dreadwolf sounds super cool.
I don't know. I mentioned this in the chat. I don't know what you guys feel on it, but
I made the same joke in the chat that I just made. So
yeah, the Bride Protector. Yes, you did. This is the fourth game in this franchise, and I just don't feel that it has any real. I don't think the series has an identity. Like Mass Effect had an identity. Like
yeah,
Dragon Age each game has been something different, and I don't
yeah.
know what Dragon Age means.
The gameplay has been so different. They've been like the first game was an isometric RPG to its core,
Yeah,
and they've gotten like more and more actiony as they've gone along. I don't know. I don't know what a Dragon Age game is. I don't know what to expect from this one. I don't understand. Like, there's a community of people who really want this game. I don't really understand those people. Inquisition wasn't a great game. It wasn't that entertaining. It wasn't good. The
I'll
story
say
wasn't
this.
engaging.
I'll say this. I'm just here to piss people off tonight. Having played it recently and getting like very bored with it and finally stopping playing, its combat is better than Dragon's Dogma 2.
okay.
I don't quite know what that means because Dragon Dogmas 2 isn't like
the combat is not that good.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
And the combat in Dragon's Age Inquisition was all right, and it had
that's like you're comparing two like different kinds of games, and one of them is like almost a budget title.
I don't like.
What are you talking about?
Was Dragon Age Inquisition or like I think Jeff, you mentioned for Dragon's Dogma, and I think this is very, very accurate that Dragon's Dogma is more about like your journey and adventuring. Like it's really just about kind of like walking and exploring. And I never thought that with Dragon Age Inquisition. Like
no,
it's more like here's your quest marker. Go to that and do the thing. And
no, yeah, 100% agree. But people love Dragon's Dogma. They talk up as like it's one of the best RPGs ever. I went from playing Inquisition this year to like a month after that playing Dragon's Dogma and going actually like back to back. And I was like, dude, the fucking combat in this is not as good as Inquisition.
Oh.
Like, that's fair.
And it's very similar, like very basic.
Like you're walking around with a party of people.
Yeah.
It's actually when you say they're similar, it's super similar. Like you control one character.
Yeah.
Everybody else is doing whatever the fuck that they do. And I don't know.
But you know what shook up the combat and Inquisition, like gave it a fun wrinkle to me, was that there was these rifts that you would have to try to close while the combat's going on. So like, and it would take time. It would take like 15 seconds. So you're like standing there hoping you don't get hit. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to close this rift to get the enemies to stop popping out. And like that to me is more fun than the quirks of Dragon's Dogma 2. But I'm just gonna shit on Dragon's Dogma 2 forever until we lose our listener.
Yeah. So like I understand why people are like I like Baldur's Gate, right? Like I get that. I don't understand what the appeal of and Baldur's Gate has the backing of like 45 years of Forgotten Realms lore and storytelling, and like so it's this rich world behind it. And like whether Jeff's not going to it for that, but he enjoys the characters that come out of that, and some of that is because of that. Dragon Age doesn't have that. Why are we? And it doesn't continue. It's not like Dragon Age 2 was a continuation of Dragon Age Origins. It was its own story, and the same with Inquisition, and I assume the same with the Bride Protector. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. What Earl, would you say next week?
Yeah, next Tuesday,
half hour.
Yeah.
Sweet. It's kind of like we were talking about the Arkham games. I feel the same way about the Dragon Age games. Like each one comes out, I like them progressively less. Like I love Origins. I think that was a fantastic game. Dragon Age 2 was good. Dragon Age 2, I got bored and didn't finish. That's kind of how I was with the Arkham games too. Just similar experience.
Did you beat Baldur's Gate 3, Tony?
I got really close to I was like 95 hours in, and
dude.
Yeah.
You gotta finish it. The some of the battles in the final third of it, oh my god, are so good.
Earl, did you notice anything else this week?
I mean, I feel bad because I don't know what I missed or didn't miss. But just before I will, I mean, this is the big weekend. Summer Game Fest is tomorrow, as of this recording, so Friday, Xbox. But there's also Data Devs and Ubisoft. I think is on Monday.
I believe Ubisoft is Monday. Yeah.
And then there's the PC game, and I am imagining Nintendo will be there at some point next week or the week after.
Yeah.
Hopefully the week after. I already took off time. You folks talked about Octopath 1 and 2.
We did not, but yeah, they're out on Game Pass now.
Yes, they just randomly dropped. Well, the first one was on Game Pass and taken off of Game Pass, and now it's back. And then the second one just like shadow dropped. So that's exciting. And
in conjunction with that, the original Octopath Traveler is also now available on PS4 and PS5.
Yes. I think there was DLC for like a super boss or something like that. That it was a very weird rollout. Let's just go with that. I don't necessarily understand this. And again, I read about this Brilliant Passing a few days ago. What is it? PlayStation VR is getting some type of attachment or cable to allow you to play like your Steam VR games or play some of your PC VR games on it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I assume this is the best way to buffer the VR library for any console or any platform, because it's a thing. This isn't news, but I feel like it should be said because if you listen to this podcast in the next week, you can have an opportunity. That Marvel's Midnight Sun is currently free on Epic's game.
Yep, if you have the Epic Game Store, you can get Marvel's Midnight Suns for free on PC.
It might be my opportunity to finally play that game. Actually, while I'm saying that, I'm gonna actually remember to claim it.
Make sure you redeem it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that right now too.
Yeah, because when it came up, it was on my work computer, and I try not to log onto a bunch of random stuff on my work computer. I don't know why. But yeah, I think that it's the calm before the storm because, like I said, there's like a ton of announcements this upcoming week that we can look forward to. Did you folks talk about Summer Game Fest and the thing that came out today about like the pricing for
Yes,
advertising?
we did touch the pricing. Yeah.
Is I mean, I don't begrudge it, but it's just like one of those things that makes you realize that it's not like as much as people want to claim like this is E3 or whatever. This is it's a scam essentially. I feel bad for the people who have to pay $500,000 for what 3-minute trailer at this vanity project.
I mean,
I don't feel bad for them.
It's funny because our discussion was completely different.
yeah,
Give the money to me.
and it's also like E3, like it was run by the ESA, but to get a booth there, they were putting a good chunk of money into to get a booth on the floor and spending tens and tens of thousands of dollars to advertise their
Yes,
game.
the difference is, and it's it's a cat and potatoes thing. Yes, that does not make any sense, which is the point. But I think with E3, because video games are at its nature, as much as some companies would prefer you not to remember, an interactive medium. So having to pay for space where people would actually go and play your games made sense. Having to pay to run a commercial in a commercial product still makes sense, but it's just not as fun.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely, it's not fun, but if you're paying for that, it's because you want the eyeballs that he's going to bring in.
Yeah.
And are you going to get those eyeballs if you do it yourself? Maybe.
No.
Yeah. But spending $300,000 for an ad that gets you 30,000 sales is probably worth it.
Yeah, I mean, we shall see. But yes, I mean, it was. I mean, my honest first thought was like, this explains why Nintendo's never on his show. They don't need to pay him for anything.
Well,
They
that
can
was
do.
that was something we didn't talk about, was that like big developers and big name creatives, that they don't have to pay that fee.
No,
So like
like
Kojima's not paying. Like if he has Death Stranding 2 on there, he's not paying for that. Like Keely's just waiving that because he wants
yeah.
the prestige of having Kojima on his show.
He's riding
showing
that
his thing.
Kojima dick.
Well,
Yes.
because it's one of those things. To your point, like you said, like it's for developers is to get eyes on. But in order for them to get eyes on, you need those games that people are interested in to get the eyes on. And like, yes, because you're not gonna like give us give us $500,000 for Death Stranding 2, give us like $500,000 for like the next Halo or Uncharted. Like no, if Sony was like, oh, we want to reveal Uncharted, you're gonna make that. You're gonna bend over backwards for them.
Yes. I do think that the one thing we did talk about though was that Keely was out there kind of like tempering expectations on it.
Yes.
So it's like what does he have to show us?
And
We'll
that I'm very
Get
curious
excited
about
for Ultimate General American Revolution, guys.
do you think it seriously, Tony? Do you think if they spent $250,000 for a 1-minute trailer?
Absolutely not. They're not getting that money back. It's
Exactly.
gone.
That's what I thought.
and then I mean it's somewhat related, but I actually still don't really know what it is. IGN Live?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because I thought that was
I know it's an event.
Okay, it's an event that you go to.
Yes.
Okay.
Which I guess would be similar to like a PAX East or a PAX West, but it's hosted by IGN.
Yeah, and I think in my head it's just because IGN now is not the website. IGN is a brand because they were the brand that bought like a bunch of those video game sites recently.
Yes.
So like I hear IGN Live, I'm thinking like the website. I'm like, oh, why would? But I guess it's a brand. It's like Repop, who do all of like the New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Just hosting but yeah, I guess again, it's like it's happening. I think it started today or tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep. It's this weekend.
I just honestly don't know what's there. I know it's happening in conjunction with Summer Game Fest. I just don't know if it's like press conferences or if it's just like a hands-on demo in a hotel lobby or something like that.
It is at the Magic Box at the Reef. I don't know what that is.
It sounds very California.
It is in LA. It is it's an event space that they hold trade shows in, I guess, in LA. And it's gonna, according to their website, it's gonna have exclusive reveals, new trailers and gameplay, celebrity panels and interviews, live episodes of IGN shows. You'll be able to play demos. There'll be photo ops, merch, special screenings, and you'll be able to like play stuff in the game lounge. And then they have a list of like stuff that's gonna be there. Stuff like a squirrel with a gun. That's one that jumped out at me.
Game of the year candidate right there. Squirrel with gun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very quiet year, so who knows?
Greedfall 2. It's like stuff that's like jumping off at screen at me. Funko Fusion, is that the Funko game?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. But hold on, this popped into my head, and I don't know if you folks talked about it. The Prince of Persia remastered stuff.
No.
Okay, just because I want to get on my high horse for a second. And as like I said, I mean, it's essentially the same thing I said on Twitter. I have Prince of Persia the same times. It's an amazing game. It was a fantastic experience, and I was excited for the remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I, whatever it turns out to be, I will look into it. I will still be interested in it, but I don't, under any circumstance, understand why a remaster of this game has taken 5 years and added another development studio. Again, love the game. It was like one of the first games I remember how badly it bombed. I could be completely wrong, but I think it was a game that Ubisoft started giving out with other games like 3 months after it came out, or it was a game that you could buy and you get another game for free. It was one of those two. I can't remember which one it was, but nothing I've ever seen has ever said it's been a commercial success. The franchise continues to thrive. Like, I mean, they come out with games. I don't think the franchise has ever been a massive hit. So I don't understand investing all of these resources into a remaster that I don't see how you recuperate your money from.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So Sands of Time, I think, did really well. I think the one that you're thinking of was the Xbox 360 PS3 era Prince of Persia, which was just called Prince of Persia. That was kind of the one that they were giving away.
No, I think it was I think it was Sands of Times. It was either that or Beyond Good and Evil. One of those games like the PS2, the GameCube era, where it was like I think it came out like October, November, and like January of the next year, it was being given out with other titles. But again, I could be completely. I just remember it being like one of those things where, like, again, play the game or adore the game. Fantastic game. If you get an opportunity, check it out.
Let's see, Prince of Persia, released in 2003, and by the end of 2003, it sold 2 million copies. So
Okay.
did pretty good.
Yeah.
Beyond Good and Evil, I don't think did as well. I know Jeff loves that game, but I don't think that did quite 2 million copies.
But yeah, I mean, because there was also that it's been a very because they also did another Sands of Time. That was the one on the 360 and PS3, right?
And so they did. There's 3 games. There's Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones.
And then I thought they did another Sands of Time game.
Yes.
Yes, they did the Forgotten Sands. That came out after Prince of Persia 2008, kind of bombed.
If you like Prince of Persia, though, it's worth playing.
Oh, Forgotten Sands is great.
Yeah.
But I think they did that in 2010 because 2008 Prince of Persia, which was like their reboot of it, did not do well.
Yes, and then it was also I think because they also did the movie the Sands of Time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again really enjoy it, but it is yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. I also think that I think Jeff would agree with this too. That Beyond Good and Evil 2, they announced that 15 years ago at this point. What are they doing?
Yeah.
That one I just don't get at all.
You're never gonna recoup that money. Yeah.
Like, you're better served to just create a new IP. At least then it doesn't have baggage. Like you're not gaining a ton of fans by naming it Beyond Good and Evil 2. Goodwill, but not a ton of fans.
In 2022, Beyond Good and Evil 2 broke the record held by Duke Nukem Forever for the longest development period for a AAA game.
Woohoo!
So that also reminds me, just because I feel like we haven't stacked on it recently. Remember Skull and Bones? Like, it was a lot more interesting when it was in development than when it came out, apparently. So
Absolutely true.
You can get it for 50% off right now.
that came out this year, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
That's
That game, at least, I do understand
why.
Yeah.
I understand why it came out. It's like like you said that. I'm like, what was it? I'm like, oh, Skull and Bones was on production, and like it came out. It was like it's looking forever. It was infamous.
Yes.
Skull and Bones is just there, not even there. It's gone.
Yeah, and I doubt they'll support it for much longer. Yeah. So that's. Do we got anything else? I think that's almost everything that's happened this week. So, well, yeah, it's not E3. Kicks off tomorrow. We're gonna have a lot of game news talk next week.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. At the very least, I fully expect to come in here and shit all over the Call of Duty showcase. But Tony is telling me I can't do that until next week. So
you have to at least pretend to watch it.
That's right. Give it a chance.
Yeah,
give it a chance.
Tony
to
told me
fail
I have to give it a chance. So fine, Tony. I will give it a chance. I will watch the. We're gonna shoot people in Call of Duty again. So we'll be back next week with all of our not E3 coverage. Yeah, look forward to that. Jeff, say goodnight.
Good night.